the Watergate building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors Amy Walter and John Mercurio.
Welcome to Hotline TV. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Amy Walter. House Republican leaders introduced a resolution yesterday condemning the MoveOn.org ad. This ad accuses General Petraeus of, quote, cooking the books for the White House. John, let's take a quick look at the ad. Let's deconstruct it.
Let's deconstruct
Break it down, John Mercurio.
Only in Washington, the year before the biggest presidential campaign, presidential election, probably of the generation, could politics sort of destroy this whole sort of remembrance or anniversary of 9/11 like this? I think there are a lot of culprits here in terms of the distraction that this ad and that the sort of the political vitriol that we've heard this week is responsible for. I think Move On obviously bears a lot of the responsibility. This is an ad that was a little bit over the top. I think they maybe sort of misread, even though their ad is very well documented in terms of the charges that it makes, the ad, or at least the group sort of, I think, misread the polls showing that General Petraeus, obviously they want to make a point not just to their base but to their Democratic presidential candidates, but General Petraeus is by and large supported by a wide majority of Americans. The Bush administration loves the fact that, at least for this week, he's the face and the voice of the war in Iraq. He's a lot more credible than anybody in the White House or at the Pentagon, and so I think going after Petraeus might have been sort of a misfire on the part of the
right.
Move
You
On.
put
Also
George
a
Bush
misfire
up there,
by the
and
Republicans. I think
you think to go
sort of push
go
back
over too
so
much.
hard. I think that basically as soon as they did that, everybody dismissed the entire story because they saw that it was just more sort of infighting in Washington and more partisanship, which at least during this 1 week of the year, because of 9/11, you'd think that one of the benefits, one of the very, very few benefits of this period of time would be that partisanship or politics would at least take a little breather. Right?
Silly.
I'm so cynical.
You
I'm
silly boy. I mean, it's cute though. It's cute. He gets like the hairs, the tie. Yeah, I mean, it's like you're just going back to another time, another era when we could do that. Yeah, you could. But alas, we're not in that time anymore. But I do think that for voters right now, I totally agree with you. What they see right now is maybe they saw the ad and they said, that's true. I think that's a little bit over the top. And that the problem really is George Bush, not Petraeus. Let's not make him the fall guy or the straw man, whatever. But all they see right now is a bunch of people in Congress pointing fingers, not a whole lot getting done. This is a great opportunity here. I'm going to do a little flip right now.
Please do a flip.
Instead of just being all cynically here, instead of saying, oh, Congress stinks, nobody's taken control of this debate, everybody looks bad. Here's a chance for somebody to step up and take the mantle, right? Isn't that what leaders are supposed to do?
That's exactly what leaders are supposed to do.
That in this time, you get one person to step. Now, if that person can emerge, it could change really so much about what we assume the 2008 election is going to be about, right? Because what voters are saying is, yes, we don't like Iraq, yeah, we get that, been there, done that, but what we want to do now is move beyond it and find somebody who's going to take us on a different path and give us a much more optimistic, not something that is not based in reality, but again, an optimistic view of where we're going to go as a country. And the person who can figure that out, person who wins the White House.
I got to say that, we're talking about all the missteps and the misfires that Move On committed in putting this ad in the New York Times. At least we're talking about it. We're talking about Move On again. And I think that MoveOn.org is still an organization that, we sort of inside the Beltway view as, sort of powerful, or at least influential among the liberal base of the Democratic Party. But every time, they do something like this, and every time they sort of make the headlines on CNN and MSNBC and Fox, and we're talking about them, and Hotline TV.
I mean, once you're on Hotline TV, boom, your numbers spike.
Every time they do something like that, they raise their profile even further, because you got to remember where they're coming from just 4 years ago. So I think that the fact that they're still having an impact on the debate during the most sort of important week of sort of foreign policy or the debate over the war on terror, I think that's a
it's a self-fulfilling cycle, right? And that Democrats continue to thank them because Move On has raised so much money for the candidates, and they can't distance themselves too much because then they distance themselves from the base, and they did promise folks there was going to be change, and they have to deliver, and all of that.
Right.
And at the same time, I would say to Republicans too, this is not 2002, this is not 2004, when you could, they labeled Move On as they were they supported the Taliban and they were radical, and it worked in defining so many of those, especially those House Democrats in 2002 and 2004. It ain't that year anymore, and it's just not going to have the same traction. I think it just, so whatever.
NBC Wall Street Journal just today showing that the advantage that Republicans enjoyed over Democrats on national security in the war on terror has basically evaporated.
It's zero. So
they have no credibility on that tackle. Move on. But it looks like we're out of time for today. Please join us tomorrow for another fabulous edition of Hotline TV.
I wish we could have more taquitos tomorrow too.
We will.
Okay.
And more taquitos.
Good.